Alright, how's everybody doing tonight? I'm gonna make this is my little last video, and I'm gonna make this to prove an overall point of what is, white privilege, why I dislike them so much, and why in 2015 when I woke up consciously and spiritually, I no longer wanted to associate with the Caucasian race, the Caucasian ethnicity, the Paleolithic man, the Neanderthals. I stopped wanting to associate with them along with all of the information that I was receiving, along with certain things. And, all right. So, the story. Once upon a time, Micah met a girl named Johanna, and he was in 12th grade, and he was at a school that he'd never been to before, and he started a criminal law and justice class with this girl, right? Micah started this criminal law and justice class, 4th period, with this girl. Her name was Johanna. She was a foreign exchange student from the country of Europe, or from the country of Germany, on the continent of Europe, or whatever it is. They say it's just a collection of 6 countries or something. But yeah, they say Europe really isn't even a continent, so that's why I'm so hesitant to even say that. But back to the story. So she's from Germany. She comes here as a foreign exchange student, and we have this criminal law and justice class together, where we incidentally, that was actually our lunch period. And although we were, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, although we were close, I didn't sit with her at lunch, and she didn't sit with me at lunch. I sat with my little sister, who was a sophomore my senior year, and along with the other group of Aboriginal girls. Cause I just never really wrote with niggas. Niggas is dumb. I always had a flock of females to follow around. So yeah, and yeah, so I think we moved there in about January, you guys, and it just so happened that the neighborhood that my mom had moved into, Johanna, her house parents, the people who took her in, as a foreign exchange student, her house parents were the homeowners of the neighborhood. So turns out we ride the same school bus. Turns out we live in the same neighborhood. I'm realizing this. I think we're both realizing this going into the month of February. Like I said, I transferred there in January, and that's where I graduated. So, I just turned 18, and she was 17. I think she was 16 going on 17, or 17 going on 18, during the summer. But anyways, me and her, we grew really close. We used to walk, up and down our neighborhood. I met her house parents and her house sister and everything. And we were like I said, she came to my house. We watched a lot of movies. She talked to me about her thing. I talked to her about my thing, about American things. She had this really, really big fascination. She wanted me to bring her to a black church for some reason. And I'm not very religious. I'm not religious. I'm not religious. So, my eye all the damn way. But long story short, I never took her to a black church. I told her she could go with someone else. When I turned 18 in February, I told my mom I wasn't going to church anymore, and she was like, well, that's your business. I did my job, and that was the end of it. So, I graduated. Like I said, we were really close. I never sat next to her. I never sat with her at lunch. Like, I'll go over to her table a couple of times, but we didn't sit around the same group of people at lunch. And she wasn't the only foreign exchange student at the school, so she had other people, with things in common. And we used to Skype when she left after I graduated, and she came back. She went to New Orleans, which is where I was originally born. And sometime, I want to say in 2015. Like I said, I graduated 2013, so I met her in 2013, and we continued to be friends even after she left and returned to Germany, and we were pen pals and whatnot. And 2015, I started my spiritual journey, and there was this time Africans were fleeing from corrupt governments led by corrupt niggas in Africa, in the motherlands. They were fleeing these corrupt governments and going to Europe. And they went into Germany, and I read this article where they were talking about how, how much they were mistreating Africans and how much they were making African people assimilate to their culture, telling them that they couldn't speak their African dialects in Germany, and they just full on assimilation to German culture. And I talked to her about that, and I raised how I felt on that issue with her, and I felt like she should speak up a little bit more about that. And I understand that everybody doesn't want to be a motherfucking activist. I understand that everybody doesn't want to lead a black versus white life. I understand that everybody isn't out to get that that dose, but everything is all about morale and ethics. I'm a motherfucking knight. And at the end of the day, when your stanky pale ass came to the motherfucking Americas, nobody asked you to assimilate and speak English. Nobody asked you to conform. Nobody asked you to listen to country music. Nobody asked you to change your preference from Taylor Swift. Nobody asked you to go from watching whatever the fuck you was watching in Germany to watching Bad Girls Club, which is what most of the Americans was watching during the time your stanky ass was here. So nobody asked you to do all of those things. So for you to say that you don't want to stand up for someone else that's coming into your country and they're being forced to live a certain way and under restrictions, when you weren't under any restriction when you came here to the Americas, when you came to the Maghreb, you weren't under any restriction to conform to anything other than who you were as a German. So that was bullshit. And to this day, I don't fuck with it. I don't fuck with it. I don't fuck with it. And you flaw. You flaw for that shit. You flaw for that. For people to seek refuge and you tell them that they can't speak their dialect, they can't wear this clothing. That's Jim Crow all over again. Just Jim Crow in Germany. That's what that's spelling out to me. But again, this was 2015, and I'm happy to say that there's been much progress in Germany since then. Peace and love.